Hi guys, welcome to Challenge the Road. Obviously it's a different location. I'm not on holiday 24/7, but it was my 50th birthday, can you believe it? And I'm in the Maldives and it's really stormy. So my wife has gone off to some pool somewhere. I'm going to sit here and do a video because there's some important stuff about EVs. I've done so many videos on EVs. I'll put the playlist on here, you can watch them. We've had the fun of the charging and McDonald's, and obviously where I put on a lot of weight. I've actually lost a lot of that. I'm actually down 22 pounds now. I'm not going to blame that on EVs. I will blame it that where you go to charge them, there is a lot of sugary food places. Now I know you don't have to eat that, but I do when I go there. So I haven't actually been to McDonald's for 12 weeks, if you can believe that. Now, this discussion at the moment, I'm getting a lot of messages from people saying, Richard, what's happening? Labour are in, what's going on? And obviously I'm monitoring it very closely, and I've got a good idea. And if I look back at some of the previous videos, I was having a watch of them today, I said that it's a good time to buy a second-hand EV, and I still believe that. I believe if you're in the right position of having home charging and you can do it, great. I think it's good. And second-hand EV sales are on the up. They're big time on the up, actually. If you can make it work, then great. But the problem is, in the UK, we had a mandate that said in 2024, 22% of all new sales need to be electric EV cars. And we're not going to hit that. And we're not going to hit it because infrastructure, how it affects us in our day-to-day life, warranties on the cars, depreciation. I've done loads of videos on this and I don't want to just get caught up in going over and over it, but you can watch them back and you'll see why. We were totally correct as a channel. We're like a little community here. We know what's going on. I message a lot of people and I reply to a huge amount of messages. So we know we're not going to hit that. But what I come across was, in the UK, we're saying 100% EV sales 2030. And I thought, okay, that's going to be tough. I don't think we're going to hit that. And I know it got pushed on to 2035, and I think Labour are going to pull it back. But what's interesting and what annoys me, and probably annoys you, in the EU, hybrid is part of the targets for manufacturers, but not in the UK. And this is just a ridiculous decision. You know, I don't like ranting about the governments, but it's ridiculous. Why do that when hybrids are so good? So I've actually got an article here in the Times as well about how bad it is for manufacturers on EVs with penalties, different things. The second point I had was, I really think hybrid is brilliant, and if hybrid's not included, you know, I'm looking at some of the new hybrid cars coming out and they're going to say 100 miles of hybrid. My X5 at the moment, I know I haven't done the reviews yet, but the Clubhouse is on its way. When I get the Clubhouse in 2 weeks' time, I can review anything. I've got it all back. 50 miles I'm getting, you know, hybrid. I'm very happy. My wife's happy in a hybrid. She doesn't want to go out and it doesn't charge, or hasn't got enough to see maybe her friends and on a longer journey and waiting to charge and all these things. And I said, it's fine if you've got home charging and you can make it work, but if not, I think the anxiety is high. And I think we're in a society at the moment where the anxiety is probably the highest it's ever been, because we've got a lot of news, we've got phones, everything moves very quickly, and that can make us anxious. And I think if you have an electric car, it could make you more anxious. The other thing that interested me was vans, machinery and all this. How are we going to, you know, do that? When I rung about using a hybrid van and they said to me, Richard, you can't even have a demo because we've got no demand. So I rung about the electric van. There's no demand for electric vans. These are like 100, 110 mile ranges. This is crazy. If you're out there and you're a builder or you're a plumber, it's not going to work. So even though you're getting the incentives from the government, I don't think it's going to work. The other thing is mild hybrids. When I went on holiday in Italy, sorry, talking about another holiday, but I had a mild hybrid 2 Series BMW Tourer. And when I got in, it said 800 kilometers range, and I thought, 800, that is massive. So anyway, I drove it, and it's really nice to drive. And whenever I got to a village or a town, I was in electric. It's just mild hybrid. Why not go that route? And it's just frustrating, isn't it? It's just annoying. You think, why, we do all this stuff with Brexit and everything, and then we make a condition that we're not going to include hybrid. I don't know. Aston Martin not producing hybrid. The other supercar manufacturers have, and I do believe a hybrid supercar is quite cool. You can have that thrill of having the engine when you're on the countryside, and then you've got the EV through the town, through the village, so silent, no noise. I think that's really good. Now, this Times article, I just go through it here. I just want to talk about some of the points in here, because there's no way they're going to reach the target, and I don't know where they go, and I don't know where manufacturers go. But it says on here, Labour's manifesto committed to forcing manufacturers to stop selling new petrol and diesel vehicles by 2030. It's a bold intervention after the previous government's U-turn. Boris Johnson first set a 2030 goal when he was Prime Minister, and this then moved to 2035. So we know about that, we know that changed. But what's quite interesting is a guy here, and he says, industry veteran Liam Butterworth is the boss of a company that supplies the drive lines that make the wheels turn in 4 of every 10 cars in the world. So obviously very, very well respected guy. He said, we will reach fully electrified mobility at some point in the future, but it will be much further out than where the forecasts are today. I think by the mid-2040s we'll probably see around 50%. So he's saying 50% EV mid-2040s. We're trying to do 100% or whatever by 2030. His predictions go further than just other major figure in the industry has dared to predict in public. Let's just go across here. Which is forcing car makers to build more EVs than the public wants to buy. And we're seeing that. We don't all want to buy EVs. And this is another thing that it just annoys me, right? Okay. How can you have 1,000 horsepower Porsche Taycan and yet it's all restricted speed, restricted everything? Why do that? So you get in it, you do 31, it goes dong, 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 dong. What's the point in 1,000 horsepower electric vehicle? There should be a limit. It should be like 300 horsepower done. Make it as efficient as possible. Don't give us like a lethal weapon, because I'm telling you now, I mean, I go out and doing a lot of walking and I can't hear some of these cars. And if you're going to give someone a car that's got 1,000, quicker than a Formula One car, speed, what is the point? That is just stupid, absolutely stupid. Anyway, I'll go back to this. They still have to get to a position of 80% of their UK sales are EVs by 2030. They're not going to do that. But missing those targets carries huge penalties. If car makers do not hit them, they will pay a fine of $15,000 for each non-EV sold. I mean, that is a massive fine. And that is where, people like Aston Martin have upped their prices, and I think are just taking into effect that they're going to have a £15,000 fine. Because I drove the new Vantage, it's an amazing car, 680 horsepower, felt way too quick for the road, but it's 50,000 more than the old car. So maybe they've included it. I want to know what you think. What do you think? You can look back through all my old videos on it. I'm in a hybrid, I'm happy, but obviously that's not the way they're trying to go at the moment. They're trying to push us fully EV. Would I go back? I was actually thinking on holiday, would I go back to full EV? Maybe, but I'd still have some charging issues at home. I went out the other day and I think it was on the video and it didn't charge. And I don't know if we have like a little mini power cuts and it just knocks the power out, and that just worries me. And long term, when I had the full EV, I said sometimes I went out, it didn't charge, and I had to take another vehicle. Now, I was fortunate to have another vehicle. If I'm not in that position, then what do? It had like 8 miles, no good. So I'm sort of worried all night, thinking, is this going to charge? And I think the charging's too slow, and the power you need to charge it takes too long. But we'll have to see. But yeah, I wanted your opinion. I want your feedback. I'm going to do a follow-up video, but I'm going to do it off your feedback. So yeah, I hope you enjoy these videos. They're sort of a bit more current affairs. I have got some stuff coming up on property and car investments. I've had quite a few messages about how does this affect classic cars, collecting cars, investment cars. So I'm going to work on that as well. But yeah, hope like these videos. If you can share, it really helps the channel grow. And if you want to go back through and look at some of the videos on there, there's quite a few funny ones on EVs, but also there's some really good ones on hybrid and EVs. So yeah, see you again soon.